Today, I would like to make 3 points. First, I'm talking about the beekeeping in Asia. Second, I'm talking about problems in that and challenges. So when you see Asia, Asia is the largest continent in the world. We have 60 people live in there, and the growth rate of population is higher every year, as well as economics. The agriculture is still main activity that fuel our economy, and we have extremely diverse geographic features and climates. So that's why we have a lot of bee species. First one is the Apis dorsata, is giant honeybee. Second one is Apis laboriosa, is Himalayan honeybee. This is Apis cerana, is Asian honeybee or cavity nesting Asian honeybee. We have the dwarf. We have the biggest and the smallest, the Apis varroa, and its sister, Apis andiformis. So you can see that in Thailand we have all of the species of honeybee there. That's why we have all the pests and parasites there as well. Through the introduction of translocations by human beings, Apis mellifera become the cosmopolitan species in Asia as well. For the people that never been in Asia and you never seen giant honeybee, this is a picture of giant honeybee. They like to build the nest far off the ground. This is on the trees or on the cliff overhangs. They have open air nestings. Some of them migrate during winter time under the water tank, or some in the dormitory. I used to rent that room to study them. This is smallest honeybee, the dwarf Asian honeybee, Apis varroa and Apis andiformis. The white bees are, you can see that it's all open nesting. They cannot be domesticated. Only cavity nesting Asian honeybee and European honeybee could be domesticated. However, recently European honeybee is become more popular and more economic viable because they produce more honey and they don't have the absconding problem like Asian cavity nesting honeybee. This is the hollow hive. Maybe it's similar to what you see in Africa. So this is a conventional style. The log hive could be deployed either in the horizontal and vertical ways. So this is pictured in Laos and it's in northern Thailand. So we have the same culture. Some of them a little bit of inventive, so they have the cover modified so they can get closer to the bees to get the honeys. This is something that more stronger in the south because we have the coconut tree and the monkey have to climb up to take out the coconut and bring them down. So sometimes the hive is under the coconut tree, so they have to be strong. Yeah. So this is Asian Apis cerana japonica, Asian bee in Japan. I visit them. This is some hives around Tokyo. They have conventional hives in the forest and also in the box. The box is similar to the Asian the Apis mellifera bee, but with smaller size. Today we have the migratory beekeeping, so we have to move the hives around. This is Apis mellifera. We only have one single box to keep bees because the beekeepers said that the temperature is too high to keep the bees having in European countries. This is a picture in China. When I visited, you can see that we have daily migratory beekeepings because the owner there have to live on the sidewalks and put the bees on the sidewalk and live there because China is pretty big country, so when they actually move, they have to have some trouble to find accommodation to stay. This is the problems. I've been talking about the beekeeping situations, and this is the bee loss. What we found, we have only few documentations about bee loss in Asia. This compared with the European countries. So we see only China here. The gentleman in previous session asked about the China. So we have about 10% loss. So it's like moderate or low loss. As Peter said, statistics can change. It depends on documentation, collection of data, and times of collection. So other national surveys in Thailand, I collected by sending questionnaire out to the beekeepers. It's about 10% average. However, this is something that beekeepers send out for me for collection data, for data collection. In Japan, they said they have no loss at all because official total number of hives have not been changed for several years, about 170,000 hives per year. And no reports from other countries because I could not access the official data. Cause of losses, disease and parasites, as you know that we have the viruses, deforming virus seem to be the most prevalent. The mites, Nosema serena, tracheal mites, and wax moth. Adding to that, in Japan we have varroa mites and insecticides seem to be the problems. You can see that they have infestation rate here with Apis mellifera. However, looking at Apis japonica, you can see low infestation. This is very interesting for me. As I'm Thai citizen, I live in Thailand, I do research in Thailand, so I would like to bring up the case study of Thai beekeeping situations intensively. When we talk about economic viability in Thailand, we only see that medium and large operations are economical viable if the owner are on loan. So they have to keep 500 or 2,000 beehives because the fuel is pretty high. We have to pay about €1 per liter for petrol, and also we have to pay sugar to feed during the dirt period about €1 as well. But we can sell honey only about €2 per kilogram. So this is the strictly condition. Correct situation, as I said, 10% loss, and I actually proved that we have varroa and tropicalaps mites, wasps, ants, shockbrood disease, European firebrood, flooding, unknown cause. We have a big flood a few years ago. And the big pest, this is the bee-eating birds. So you can see the blue-tailed birds and some of the dranko. They actually eat Apis mellifera and also native bees. They come out different times. So the blue-tailed birds come out in the morning and eat the bees, and the other birds come out in the afternoon and eat. However, we cannot kill these birds not because of its beauty, but it's important to keep the right pests under control in agricultural system as well. So this is a main problem in Thailand. We have varroa infestation. So without treatment, the beekeeper, when I did the survey, we have about 50% of the colony infested with varroa and also tropicalaps. And about 30% of the colony infested by both mites. And with heavy infestation, you can see 50% loss of colony there. The shockbrood only found in rainy season, so it's come and go. It's not the big problem. The most prevalent virus in Thailand is also deformed wing viruses, which acute bee paralysis virus was telling the second. And we have varroa mite. As I said, varroa mite vector the bee viruses. So the more varroa you have, the more virus you have in the bee colony. You might ask the question about tropicalaps. As far as I'm concerned, tropicalaps carry only deformed wing viruses. I don't see any other viruses in them. However, we have surveyed the pathogens and pests in native bees. We found that fewer pathogens and pests could be found there. So this is an interesting point. This is the frequencies of Nosema serena in 4 different species of bee with Apis mellifera, Apis serena, and Dorsata and Phorea. It seems that native bee they have less frequencies of infested with Nosema serena. And when we look at the genetic relationship, it seems like that the pathogen actually co-evolve with its host. So you can see that Apis aureus and Apis dorsata, they form in different clades, distinct clades. And Apis mellifera and Apis cerana, the nosema that infested in Apis mellifera and Apis cerana, they form in the same clades. So, lesson learned, and what next? This is challenging. I worked on this for 10 years, maybe possibly shorter than the beekeepers here, because I've been asking around and you are keeping bee for 60 years. However, I have done my best to do this. So I think what we need is more input in science, in innovation in Asia, because we have a lot of diversity. In order to make sustainable use of the biodiversity in Thailand or in Asia, I think more input in science and innovations is important. We want to conserve the bees. However, our religions, our culture already provide effective means to conserve the bees. You can see that the bees like to build their nests in pagoda or the respectful monk, so we cannot actually go there and collect them. And this is another wonderful picture, because the theory said Apis dorsata like to build the colony far off the ground, but this is not that high, just one-story house, but it's temple. So nobody dare to touch it, including me. So what I've been doing so far, we are looking at resistant mechanism, because we learned that fewer pathogen and pests could be found in native bees. This must be resistant mechanisms, lines in the native bees. So we look at hygienic behavior, reproductive success of the varroa and tropilapse mites. Actually, I framed this, but it's not working here. Apis cerana actually have the unique behavior about body shaking. When you put the tropilapse or varroa mites on them, they have the intensively body shaking, which I could not observe in other bee species. And when you look at the tropilapse, you can see that the first legs are gone, it's bitten off by the bees. So this is grooming behavior that Apis cerana could have to have the resistant mechanism to these mites. When we look at the infection rates of Nosema cerana, this is done artificially in the lab. So we actually feed Nosema cerana spores in different colonies, in different honeybee species. We found that Apis mellifera tend to have more infection. When we will look at the immune gene response, because when the pathogen comes into the body of the bees have defense mechanism. One of them is humoral immune response that have proteins like abacin, epidacin, hymenoptericin. So it seems that all the native bees have higher response to the pathogen. You can see from the graph here. So we're talking about hygienic behavior. We're talking about, immune response. So what other factors that I found? We actually look at the microflora that live in the midgut, because I'm interested in that, because human beings, we have the lactobacillus, we drink yogurt to actually protect us from diarrhea. So I've been looking at that, and we found that between Apis cerana and Apis mellifera, they have different species of microflora. That's very interesting. And we have difference between life stage, between larvae, pupae, and workers. So you can see that this is the Apis mellifera, this is Apis cerana. And also I found that when I put the Apis cerana in different locations, they tend to have different bacterial group in their guts. But when I look at Apis mellifera in different locations, it seems to have the same group of microflora. So it's like our interventions, human intervention, human activity that feed sugar, syrup, or we have migratory beekeepings that actually put them in same nectar source could affect the microflora community inside the gut. Good news is that there's a lot of new species of bacteria in there, in the hives. So I've been proposing new species, and it has been done about 6 already. So it's Actinomycera apis. This is the name of the bacteria. Streptomyces, the one that we are using for drug. For example, rifamycin, as you know. So I've been putting this in the culture collections or in the bank. So I deposited it, but all of you can go have a fully access if you want. So I would like to put all the natural resources that live with the native bees or the bees in Asia in the collections, because I know that I don't live that long. People die. We don't live forever. And also the bee species. I can say that I want to conserve the bees, but the theory said that every million years, every species has been replaced. One species has to be extinct. So I want to put the genetic pool or gene pools in the bank so the next generation can use it. This is a picture of the new species. It's Actinomyces species. Talking about the bee health, talking about the bee pests, one of my job is trying to promote bee products as well, because the beekeeper want to have the more standardized products. So I've been looking at the honey analysis. We do various type of honey in Thailand. The main one is longan. I don't know whether you have tried the fruit already or not, but it's very sweet. Longan is about 80% of production of honey in Thailand. So we've been collecting all the picture, all the pollen that found in honey, and also make the book about it, because we want to make sure that this will pass through generations. Sadly, I want to say that some of them, like lychee, this year we have only flowers, but we could not have fruit because the weather is very dry. So you can see that the climate change actually affect everything. I've been looking at the commercial stingless bee as well. It's called Tetragonella laviceps. So we're looking at the honey and also the propolis. Tens of hives there can produce 1 kg of honey, and about 50 hives can produce 1 kg of propolis. However, the beekeeper, they sell their products in very high price, about 10 times higher than the Apis mellifera honey. This is the sample collections about the stingless bee. And we look at the antimicrobial activity as well. We found that our Thai honey and Thai stingless bee have some good antimicrobial activity toward different pathogens. We look at physiochemical properties of Thai honeys, and it's good standard. So every year we generate some knowledge, and we also transfer that knowledge to the people, in the local people. Sometimes we invite the bee scientists to talk, and we have the translator, like today. And we promote the good practice, hygienic practice, to produce honey in Thailand as well. So, a part of my research job. the ladies used to ask about the essential oil to combat the varroa and tropicales mites. We tried this in Chiang Mai University. We put essential oil, but it's a Thai herbs, to put there, and with the ceramics, we have a very good result in the lab. However, we have some difficulties in the beehives. However, we put the ceramics in there to limit vaporizing rate, because we have high temperature. It seems like they release too quickly, so the vapor has gone quickly and the mice still there. We are trying to understand behavior of the Apis dorsata, trying to see the temperature inside, how they abscond, and what the factors are there, and also look at the tropicales. And one of the challenging project that I have is look at the seal proteins. The seal proteins is secreted by the bee larvae, and it's very strong because Apis dorsata, they have very strong comb, and it embedded in the comb cell like this. This is the scanning electron microscope picture. You can see the thread of silk. So I want to keep the gene. So we have cloned the silk proteins. At this point, we have cloned about 3 genes already. Surprisingly, beekeeper in Thailand, they don't keep propolis because they don't have any market to sell. So we work on bee propolis as well with both Apis mellifera and also stingless bee. And we look at the chemical profile, and we had the interesting result that the Apis mellifera actually collect resin from mango, and stingless bee collect resin from mangosteen, which is my favorite fruit. So this actually tells you that every bee species, they have their own preference. So they have preference in their target. So that's why we have to keep biodiversity, their diversity, to maintain the floral sources, to maintain the plants, local plants in our region. We also go that advanced. We don't want to do more extraction, like do propolis and put in alcohol, or put in the toothpaste, put in the soap, and do the propolis product. We want to put in electrospinning technique and actually produce nanofiber of propolis. So far, we have successfully produced the polypropolis with polycarbonolactone nanofiber. This is non-toxic, biodegradable, and actually can be used as the wound dressing. So it has the killing effect. It means they can kill the bacteria when they on top of the skin as well. So to create some more money for my research, so we would like to transfer this to the companies. My students actually participate in this negotiation forum as well. So we have different products to sell. At last, I hope that the next generation of Thai people would bring up the light of hope in science and innovation, as well as bringing up the good people to develop our countries and also in Asia. Thank you.